And we're live. It's Whiskey Watches the Wheels. I am the phenomenal Matt Green. And
Kevin.
Hey, that works. That works. and who's the third gentleman over here?
Casey.
All right. I was going to say with my buddies, we're going to rock your socks tonight. We're missing James. Although, let's be honest, are we really missing James?
I mean, he don't talk anyways.
I love James dearly. I do. His stories are phenomenal. But he never even answered Casey's question when we said, where are you going? Yeah.
I want to know where he's going.
It's all good. It's all fun. We do miss James when he's here.
We do miss him.
We do miss James. I don't want him to get a complex. He's sorely missed when he's not here.
He's not going to get a complex.
No, probably not. Are you kidding? He don't listen to this shit.
That's right. He'll never hear it.
I'm kidding. So, start off by saying kudos to Kevin and Savannah last week. I was on vacation, actually up in Virginia, visiting Casey or saw Casey and his lovely wife while we were up there. Me and Stacy went up there for a week and was kicking around Washington, D.C. area. And Casey had work obligations and James had something going on. So Kevin took the bull by the horns and got with Savannah and said, fuck it. We're gonna roll with this. And they did a phenomenal job. Got great positive feedback.
I listened.
And so thank you. I listened to the entire thing. It was awesome.
I have not listened to it. I started to it a little bit, but I got busy.
I like that Savannah's like, I won't drink Jack Daniels. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, it's trash. She has no problem calling him out on it.
Yes.
And she's very natural on the mic, which is awesome. So it was a great episode, and really had good feedback on YouTube and Instagram. So it turned out great. So we got some stuff we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to take a little old school.
We're going to talk about what you did up in DC because I want to talk about the F1 arcade.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it.
Right.
So, Stacy and I have been to Washington, D.C. multiple times. This is the first time just the two of us. Usually we had our kids with us. And, we haven't been there in probably 6-7 years. So the kids would have been, early teens when they were there last. Kids get bored. There's only so much you can do. This time around, we really took the time to just kind of do whatever we wanted to do. We had no agenda. We get up in the morning, say, what do we want to do, and go figure it out. Literally, if anyone's ever been to Washington, D.C. before, you walk a lot, which is what we like. We like going places we can hike and try to stay healthy. So we literally walked 75 miles over the course of the week. We average about 10,
really?
Yeah, about 10 to 15 miles a day.
That's awesome.
So, and it still didn't help. I still gained like 3 pounds, but it wasn't necessarily eating the best. But yeah, for our first day there, we drove up on Saturday, spent the entire day. It's a good 12 and change hour drive from Orlando to DC. Met up with Casey and Ashley on Sunday, and God bless her. I love Ashley because she's such a planner. She has everything like completely organized, which is I'm not. So it worked out perfect. And so she had the agenda of where we were doing brunch and where we were doing, went to an art experience, kind of cool thing, and then went to the F1 arcade, and it was freaking awesome. I didn't know what to expect. And it was basically just a bunch of driving simulators, and you booked it for hour increments, and you freaking raced head on head. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was surprised at, I guess not being a race weekend. It was, it wasn't all that busy, but it was busier than I anticipated, honestly. And the racing was better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
You could obviously choose like your skill level. And it got really hard, really quick, right? Like in level 3 or the middle, whatever that, I don't remember the name of it, but that was, you had to really be careful on the throttle coming out of corners. You would spin in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you'd spin around, and Casey and I rapidly learned, like the girls were great on the very entry level, the first setting. We started there, and within the first race was like, okay, there's too many nannies on this. Yeah. So went up to the second. I think the second was kind of the sweet spot. The third was you really lost a lot of control, and how people were on the fifth, I have no idea because
I think had we been sitting there for quite some time and I wasn't drinking, I could have figured it out after a little while, right?
Yeah.
You just really had to actually modulate the throttle. But I personally really enjoyed that the girls got into it and they were decent. Like they didn't get last place every time, right? They actually won a race.
Yep.
So I thought it was a lot of fun. I really recommend it. I've told some work people that I been around the last week that they should go do it. And I enjoyed it. And it wasn't really too expensive. I think it was $50, $55 a simulator per hour. So if you go as a couple for an hour, it's just $55. So I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, I think it is as well. And what I loved was, and somehow I'm not sure how this happened, but on the first hour that we had, somehow, I guess just the way, because we were kind of learning and as we go, and you have to scan the little QR code and set up your profile.
Internet was terrible.
Internet was terrible, but Ashley and I ended up on the same machine, so it was me and Ashley against Casey and Stacy for the first hour, which was great. And I loved the fact, like, my wife is competitive, but nothing. Ashley's like, she didn't say, "Don't you fuck this up." Don't, you know, you and I were talking about experimenting and going up to higher levels, and she's like, "No, you're not. No, you can't screw this up. We're competing here."
Yeah,
like,
once Ashley figures out that she's good at something, then she becomes super competitive. Because she's like, "Oh, I can do this."
So it was great, but it was a good time, and they had a really cool Union Market.
Yeah, that was
food hall.
Was cool. Yeah,
was really cool. So everything was great, and dinner was really good.
Dinner was good.
I drank at dinner, Kevin. I had margarita. Yeah, go figure, right?
They were good margaritas too.
They were good margaritas. So that was DC. So that's why we were away. And Kevin and Savannah took over and did a great episode. And they kind of inspired me. I'm driving back, and I'm had 12 hours to drive, so I listened to their entire episode. And I'm like, yeah, man, we need to throw it back. They went old school. They did a wristwatch check and talked about bourbon and stuff that we've kind of gotten away from for a while. So we're going to do that tonight. We're going to talk, kind of what we're wearing on watches. We're going to talk about what's in your cup. Although, big surprise, I'm more drinking water, but I'm sure Casey's got a drink. And then we've got some other topics for later on. So I guess we can start with the watches. What are you guys wearing tonight? What are you rocking? Kevin,
you ready?
I saw Kevin's in the things. I know what Kevin's wearing, but I can't wait for him to share it because we haven't went over this watch in quite a while. So
Kevin, you're muted, bro.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
novice.
It's one of my favorite watches. So.
Well, he didn't want the microphone to pick up his snoring while you and I were talking about the F1 experience.
No, it was with the AC here and everything. I just want to let me see if I can put this thing on this little thing. See if I can put it right here. Let's see here. There you go.
Oh, you haven't worn that in a while?
No, I haven't worn it. So it is a Seiko 5. So I had this watch made for me. It's let's see if I can, I don't have to zoom in.
Custom mod.
Right? Yeah, it's a custom mod watch. It is an automatic, and I don't know, 21 joules, but it's rainbow. He did the bezel. Let's see if I can kind of.
It's probably using an NH35 movement.
Yep, we've learned this, right?
Yes.
Let's see if I can zoom in here.
We got the boomer on technology tonight.
Who? Not me. I know how to work technology. There you go.
It's a good looking watch. I like it.
Oh, it's a day date. So that'd be the NH36, I think.
There you go.
Yeah, and I mean he did the little sprinkles and stuff like that, and all that. And the band is super comfortable. It's almost like the Rolex Sky Dweller band that's super comfortable.
Yeah,
kind of like a soft neoprene.
Yep. It's heavy watch too. It is a very heavy watch. It does have the exhibition case on the back. Like I said, I like this watch. The guy made it for me. It's pretty cool.
And the second hands is like a Milgauss, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
So
I like it.
I love modded watches. I'll let a little bit of the cat out of the bag, not totally, but you guys know this. The audience doesn't know this. I have ordered all the parts to build my own watch.
Can you do mine too?
Yeah. What's that? What?
Can you do mine? Because remember I was supposed to do my.
Oh yeah, the Moonswatch or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sure I can.
Just haven't had time.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm gonna get my feet wet on this. All the parts that come in, with the exception of course, when you buy a blank dial, when you find a dial, well, not all of them. Some of them have a logo on them. But a lot of them are blank. There's no, because again, it's nondescript, so there's no manufacturer for it. So I found a website that I was able to create or get watch logos made, And so all the parts are here. I'm just waiting for the logo that I can affix to the dial before I assemble everything.
You're not
So-
going to do whiskey watches and wheels, are you?
I'm not saying if I am or not.
You gotta wait and see, Kevin.
You got to wait and see, buddy.
Jeez.
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Jeez,
How about what does your dial say, Casey? Corn fucker or something? I don't know.
yeah, like corn husker fucker or something.
So, but no, it's a Casey's seen the dial. It's a very cool dial. It just doesn't have a logo. So I just had a small, very, very, very small logo made that you can affix to the dial. So
Cool.
just waiting for the logo to come in, and then I can start putting everything together. But it'll be a fun project.
So what are
All
you
right,
wearing
my
today?
turn. I'm going to tell you. Just
No,
hold on
not
one
you.
second. Oh,
Matt,
fuck
did you
off.
say what you're wearing?
No, I didn't say what I'm wearing. So here's the thing. Again, listening to the podcast last week, I have to agree with Savannah. And a total watch guy's watch without knowing it's a watch guy's watch is the Moon Swatch. I got my Snoopy on. You guys talked about it last week. They are a great watch in the fact that it's lightweight and it gives you that Omega feel, yet it's, not disposable, but it's, someone who's a watch guy will look at it and say, oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're doing there. Whereas a non-watch person may not even know what it is. So
Does it give you the Omega feel because it says Omega on it? Because
No,
I don't
no.
get the Omega feel.
no, I don't get the
when
Omega
wear that
feel
watch.
at all. But what I do
'cause
is,
that's what you said. And I don't
here's what I
get
mean by that.
feel.
Let me clarify.
Please clarify.
I've always loved Omega. I've always loved Omega more than I like Rolex. And that's basically because of the visual aesthetics of the chrono and the look of the watch. I work around slabs of stone all day long. I'm not going to wear my Omega Speedmaster in the warehouse because the first time I smack it against a slab of granite, I'm going to scratch it and break the fuck out of it.
Mhm.
So looking at the watch gives me the visuals of the Omega that I like without having to worry about smacking it against something. I mean, if I destroy it,
feel.
the visual feel. I mean, if I destroy it, okay, it's $200, $300, whatever, you get another one. But so that's what I mean by that.
All right. I had a recent acquisition, and I didn't want to talk about this until my wife noticed because she likes to tell me that she is super observant. And I wanted to see if she would observe that I had a new watch on. And she finally did, actually, today. But I got a Seiko 007. Ooh, there you go.
Ooh,
Very nice.
Classic. It's, of course, a made in Japan model on the Jubilee bracelet, which is the first one I've got with the Jubilee bracelet because my 009 came with the Oyster bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, I've been wearing it a couple weeks. I really like it. It's got the same, of course, feel just like the 009. It's nice and heavy, and you know that it's there, but it wears very well. This Jubilee bracelet is comfortable, and it's funny because people look at it. Like you notice, or I've noticed, people look at it, they think it's a Rolex, even though obviously it's not. I'm trying not trying to put out that it is, but it's got that very classic sub look to it, and I think it's a smart looking watch. I think it's a good watch. I love the indices. I love the hands on it compared to like the Willard or Turtle or whatever. I really like this look, and it's a great watch. Happy with it.
So is it your 009 or is it your 033 that has where the red is kind of sun faded out?
The 33.
Okay, so that's what you were wearing when we went to the F1 experience and all that. Because I love that look. I love the fact that it's not bright red, that it's been patinaed and it's been aged, and even from when you got out of the Cayman and you're coming around, I saw it from a distance and I'm like, yeah, I just love the visual of how it's kind of got a patinaed.
And I like to
bezel.
think it's because it came from Australia that it had a lot of sun on it. And
Maybe.
It's actually been used in whatever. That's a story I like to say. But
the previous owner was a kangaroo wrangler over the Outback.
Or a surfer or something, right? Like that's what I tell myself. But I do like the patina on it. This one is perfectly mint, not a scratch, the bezel has no, it looks like it just came out of a box. It came with a box. As I think I mentioned to Kevin, or we said on here last week, like who knows if these are the actual OG boxes because it's just a Seiko box. But anyhow, it came with a box, an OE band, so I'm happy with it. It's a great watch. I really, really like the look and the feel of the 007 and 009s.
Cool, man. That's awesome. you know what? I'm gonna do something real quick while we're here. I'm gonna show you guys something. I don't care. No one watches this. Hold on a second.
No one watches this anyway. So do you, out of all the Seikos, oh, well, he's back already, man. That was quick. Well,
Since we're talking about watches, I'm going to show you guys live on the air the dial that I'm going to put on the watch that I'm going to build.
I'm so excited.
Good. I guess people have to go on YouTube to
go on YouTube and see this. This is not going to be the finished product. Obviously, this is just the dial.
It's going to be at minute 16 probably, or 15. So you can just scroll through all the rest of our shit.
So
and this will be the YouTube short.
Yeah.
I have always wanted a watch in this color, and I've never been able to really find one.
Well, we know it's not yellow and orange, so
no, not yellow or orange.
It's gonna be Tiffany blue.
No, not Tiffany blue.
Pretty damn close, though.
Pretty damn close.
Mint
there
green.
You go.
But what I see, so see all the
it's like sundialed.
Right.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, see that right there?
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So it's got a really cool engraving on it. So that's going to be the actual dial for the watch I'm building.
I am worried about where you're going to put whatever.
So full transparency, it may not end up getting a logo.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the logos in. I'm going to see how it looks on it. I had the logo made in black to match the bottom portion, but it would cover this kind of like circle area right here at the top.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm going to like it. So I'm going to kind of hover it on there first.
You can always put it off to the left side. You're doing no date, right? Or it is a date?
No, it's a date. No, it's not a day date, just a date.
So you can put it over by 9:00 so that it wouldn't cover the concentric circles. But
yeah. So I'm going to play around with it and see. Like I said, it may not end up getting a logo. The logos really weren't I mean, literally, it was. You have to buy it in sheets. So I think it was
so what do they get? They get glued on? Yeah,
they're self-adhesive. Yeah, and they're made out of metal, supposedly. Like I said, I haven't received them yet, but it was like a sheet of
those. You better get that little monocle over
there.
No,
I got the helmet, the whole thing that you got, the whole big welder's helmet. So, but the logos were like $20 for like 20 of them. I think they were like a buck a piece. You have to buy them a sheet, but so.
Well, good. I think that's exciting, and it makes me want to do the same thing because I looked at doing one of those DIY watch club things for y'all for like Christmas or something, and I was concerned that I would have the time to sit down and do it, and B, that I could actually do it. So I'm excited to hear your experience with it.
So a couple things. I've watched 10,000 YouTube videos like everyone else does. I'm not really concerned about anything. The only thing I'm apprehensive about, obviously, on the movement, you have to the stem. You have to custom cut the stem, all right, and get it just the right size. And there's really no
for your
crown.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So so before you put any Loctite and all that on the crown to the stem, you actually have to pull it out, cut the stem, get it right at the right length so that when you push it in, you can go through and lock it in place. And so there's a lot of trial and error there. So I bought like 5 stems.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It came with one. So I got 6 stems.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I'm going to screw up 1 or 2 of them through that process. Other than that, everything seems to be pretty straightforward. I mean, that's really the only apprehensive part because I'm not actually building my own movement. Although at some point in time, I would love to learn how to work on movements, and I will at some point. This is baby steps. So in all intents and purposes, I'm assembling a watch, not necessarily making a watch. But it was cool. It's a cool process. You literally go on the various. There's tons of different websites, and I started with the DIY watch stuff. Looking at those, but they're all branded. They all have their own brands and all that. And I'm like, I'm not into that. I don't, I'd rather have a non-branded than have that or my own brand.
Yep. Well, can't you do that and then get a different dial?
You could buy their kit and then buy a separate dial. Totally done. But then you can get it on. I hate to say this,
because most of them are using Seiko movements, aren't they?
Yes, and that's what I bought. The movement I bought is a genuine Seiko movement. That was really the most.
So what about all the tools, like the dial press to press on the dial, to press on the dial?
Bought all of it. Yeah, I got the
you get does it come with a crown? You got the case already has a crown or the glass?
So
It's
the
already on
case
it?
already has the sapphire glass, the dome sapphire glass built into it. That's why I didn't have to
Okay.
buy the glass press now. And then I didn't buy the actual hand press, but I bought the tools. So you, and then there's
Yeah.
this stuff. I forget what they call it. It looks like Play-Doh that you
Yes,
literally.
I love that stuff.
Yeah. So you push the like the hands into
Rodico?
that radical.
Rodico.
Yes. Yeah, that's what they call it. Yeah. And you push the hands in that, then you use that to go through and like slowly put down. And then you have this different tools that then you push down on the hand to get
Do
those
you have
in
the finger
place.
gloves? Because I got about 5,000 of those.
Yeah, they don't buy them. So I bought the finger gloves. I bought the special. I mean, I already had a toolkit.
Your
that Stacey
fingers
got
are
me
going to
for
be
Christmas.
numb because they're so tight. I'm just letting you know.
I bet. And
You
so
might be able to use them later, though.
yeah, there's a bunch of them. I mean, everything's sold in bulk. I think I got like 100 of them for like $3 or whatever.
We're in
So-
3 of those
Waka, waka.
bitches.
Good thing is that I have a really small dick. So if I need a condom, I just put it on there. So we're good. I'm not worried about that.
It fits your pinky.
But I got the toolkit Stacey got me for Christmas. So I got a lot of the other stuff. I did buy a couple of the tweezers that are made for it, like the straight one and the bent one. So yeah, I think I have everything. I got the little ball that you're supposed to for the dust, So I got the
You got a magic 8-ball to do the case back, or is it a press?
It's both. I have the tool that came in my kit, and it has the little round thing, the ball that you can stick on there and do that.
Nice.
And then I got the little
I'm jealous.
movement
And
holder.
like I said, I'm excited to hear how this turns out, because I'd like to know the kit or the tools that you've purchased and see if it needs to be replicated exactly, or if you hate some of it.
I got everything right here.
Well, I don't need to see it. I just want to know what it is, but we are going to see it.
We're gonna do this shit right now. I mean, so literally, I got. All right, so here's the movement holder. So movement holder looks like this, and it goes on the table. So your movement kind of sits in there, and then I got a standard Seiko kind of case. All right, with a Jubilee band. And it's got a clear back on it.
But it's not a Seiko branded.
It's not Seiko branded, no.
Okay.
No. It wasn't cheap, but it's not well, it's not Seiko branded, but I compared it against my my 009 and it's almost identical. So what else we got? These are all the little press things for the hands, and here's your Rodico and all of my extra little
Holders.
stems.
Stems, yeah.
Yep. And then here is the actual movement. And this is a branded movement. This right here. Made in Japan.
And this was all you purchased this all off Temu?
No, AliExpress. AliExpress. Well, here's the crazy thing. I went on there's really good sources to buy all of this product stateside.
Yeah, it's just double the price.
But it's double the price, and I really and I'm not just saying this to say it, because I'm not the guy that orders shit off AliExpress. Matter of fact, I had to create. This is the first stuff I ever ordered off AliExpress. I'm just not that guy. But why am I going to let someone else get the markup? I mean, it was literally I would looked at part numbers, because a lot of these websites aren't smart enough to change the part numbers, and so I would take their part number and put it in AliExpress, and it was the same fucking part number.
Yeah.
I mean, and literally, so, I'll disclose this, my case, so the movement and the case were the two most expensive parts. The movement was like $45. All right. And the case was like $75. Well, the same damn case on the regular statewide, sites was, like 140, and the movement was like 80, $90. And it's the exact same movement. So
and you could actually get that case if you search good enough, because I think my case was like $20-something.
Yeah, you can. But because I'd never ordered from AliExpress before and stuff like that, I was really
decided to go big, a little more, and cheap, so that if it was $20, you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna
not
go
so
with the more
much.
expensive.
I mean, but kind of only because I'm thinking, if it's $20, is it total garbage? I don't. I'm doing this and I want it to be decent. I don't. Know. So I was afraid to go too cheap, because I don't want to be. But even all in, I mean, everything with the hands and the dial and the movements, I'm in at like $140, $150.
Oh, I love that. That sounds like such a fun winter project.
Yeah,
where you could knock a cool watch out, or two watches, I don't know how long it's going to take, but that sounds like a fun project.
Well, the videos I've been watching are about 40 minutes. So, of course, these guys know what they're doing. So I'm figuring, it can't be more than a couple hours or simply.
Yeah, even if you take 3 times as long, it's still
it'll be a Sunday project.
You got the movement, right? All the hardest thing's going to be is putting the dial on,
right,
pressing on the hands, and putting it on the crown.
Correct.
Like
100%.
That's
100%. So I mean, that's and the crown is not the crown. The crown, the stem is the first thing that you do. You do that before you do anything else. So you make sure that it fits into the case well, and then you pull out the factory stem, and then you put in you trim one down and you measure it, and then go from there. So we're gonna see. It's gonna be a fun project.
Awesome. All right, what's next up?
Well, I know you were drinking. I don't know if Kevin or not. So what are you drinking?
I got an old fashioned, and I just finished a bottle of Nashville bourbon, or a Nashville Bourbon Company, isn't it? NBC. But a bottle of their rye is a 115. I've had it for probably a couple years, but been crushing a good old fashioned. I ordered some new dried orange slices, so they're delicious.
Cool.
Luxardo cherries. Nothing better.
Awesome.
He got those dry things because you saw them in my house.
Yes, that is true. And on Amazon, they're really cheap, and they add a very pleasant experience to my old fashioned.
You should take your butane, and if you
I do that on occasion. Yes, but usually it's on like the second one, and then I end up burning it. Because I've had a good old fashioned already. But no, it's I really do like old fashions, obviously, and the Luxardo and the orange slices with a gentleman's cube, as Savannah likes to call them. I think is perfect old fashioned.
That's awesome. When I pulled into Virginia, literally, I hadn't been in Virginia more than 15 minutes on 95. Big billboard for, bourbon.
There you go.
I don't ever see billboards for bourbon until I got into Virginia.
There you go. So, we're in the South, baby.
I'm drinking water. I'm being boring tonight. Kevin, what about you?
Then I'm drinking Coke.
Okay.
Because after this, I'm still working.
Fuck you guys. All right, moving on. What's next?
All right. So we spoke about it in the group chat a little bit. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but we got to mention it. Tesla's at it again. All the Cybertrucks, literally like 60, what is it? 65, no, 40, 46,000.
The ones that haven't been spray painted.
Yeah, which is pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Have been recalled. And it's a simple recall, something about, body panels flying off on their car when they're driving down the highway. I mean, who needs body panels to actually stay on the vehicle?
Minor detail.
Yeah, I don't get it. So
what's the issue?
So here's the issue. This is what they're saying. This comes from people.com. All Cybertrucks, nearly all Cybertrucks, have been recalled, roughly 46,000 of them. They are at risk of trim panels detaching when at speed. Per the NHTSA and Tesla, the recall is for all 2024 and 2025 Cybertrucks that were manufactured between November of 23 and February of 25. So basically, all of them.
This obviously comes at a terrible time for Tesla. I do wonder, do you think these car companies, do they have insurance policies in place for recalls?
I don't know, man.
You got to just think
so.
that his net value or gross value on his companies is plummeted, and this is probably not going to be a super expensive fix because it's probably just some adhesive that
Gorilla
they're going
glue.
to apply. Yeah, but obviously not good look for the brand that's trying to expand in addition to all his other Doge.
But you know what though, I will say this: on his Model 3s, the C pillar on the back glass, I would see that driving on the freeway because they were plastic and they would just be flapping. Oh yeah. I think I've sent you guys pictures of it before, like 2 years ago. And so I think it's just kind of the same. It's probably a plastic part that the air gets underneath it and starts to lift it, and
Yeah. And I guess there's got to be some place that they cut money, right? The Model 3 is not an expensive vehicle. It does cost a lot, but it's not an expensive vehicle in the grand scheme of things, and they've got to cut corners somewhere to save on cost. And I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised at all.
So I'm torn. When I look at cars like the Model 3, first of all, an electric vehicle doesn't fit my personal lifestyle, so I would never entertain owning one myself. Now, my wife, because she literally drives 8 miles round trip every day, so it's not a big deal. So it doesn't fit my personal lifestyle. I would never go out and spend full retail on an electric vehicle because you literally lose 40% the second you drive off the lot. The depreciation is horrible. That being said, these Model 3s that like Hertz are slinging at 15 grand, 15 grand makes an electrical vehicle seem much more palatable for me because, okay, it's 15 grand.
It can become your fourth vehicle.
Right. It's
right?
15
For 15
grand.
grand, right? Like it's so,
Right.
15 grand is still 15 grand, but it's so cheap that you can throw it out in the driveway. You don't really care that much about it because it was 15 grand. It runs, whenever you need it to run. It's not going to just, whatever. There's maintenance is virtually nil. Outside of tires and brakes. So why not just add a $15,000 car to the fleet?
Correct.
And when you need to just go to the grocery store, you go to the grocery store. Or your wife says, hey, I don't feel like driving today. I'm going to let Auto Drive take me to school 8 miles away. And, whatever.
Well, 15 grand is more than, or actually probably less than the depreciation on a typical vehicle if you keep it, 3 to 4 years.
Sure.
So you spend 15 grand on it. Everyone's like, oh, the battery's like 20 grand to replace. Guess what? If I drive it 3-4 years and it needs a new battery, I'm crushing it. Or I'm getting, it's 15 grand. It is what it is.
Who cares?
Who's going to put 20 grand on a battery, $20,000 battery in a 15 grand car? You're not.
And let's not forget the whole argument, as we've said many times on this channel or these shows, whatever. What is this thing? It's called a podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
On this podcast,
Podio.
Is that these things are supposed to be saving the environment, and the fact is the batteries don't last that long. Cost to replace is astronomically high. And matter of fact, I was talking to a guy the other day, and I'm not claiming this number. This is what he said when he researched it, that the break-even number miles on the car is roughly 300,000 miles. You tell me how many people out there keep their car to 300,000 miles? It's very nil. I'm
is
one
that
of them.
Any car?
No, it's on the Teslas. It's on, or it's on like a battery electric car.
Yeah.
So even if that number is 200,000, let's say that number is off by a third. How many people actually keep their vehicle to 200,000 miles? That's a very, very low number. There's not a lot of people that do that. And so it's just more proving that this way may be the way of the future 20 years from now. But today, it's still not the most economical or environmentally friendly method to move forward.
I mean, battery degradation alone. And I know this is apples and oranges, but you guys know I'm not new to iPhone, but the last couple years ago, I jumped ship and I got an iPhone. I've had it almost 3 years. I love it. It's a great phone, right? Not holding a charge for shit. I've had it 3 years, not holding a charge for shit. Luckily, Google is always listening. All right. So I fire up Google on my phone the other day and it says, iPhone battery not holding a charge, try these. And so I go in, I didn't even realize this. In the settings, I go in and it shows in there what your health is. Right?
Yeah.
My battery is at 79%. So when it's 100%, it's really only 79%. But then there's a little kudos to Apple, and I've come to do some research and figure out that it's because of the lawsuit. It's the little disclaimer thing says, your battery is seriously degraded. Make an appointment today at what do you call it, the Genius Bar or whatever it is, to have your battery replaced for free. Apple, yeah, because I have the Apple Care through T-Mobile. I pay the extra, what is it, $4 or $5 a month for the insurance, and so that's considered the Apple Care. And so I literally, that was Sunday night, made an appointment for Monday night at 5:30 when I got off work. Went down there. Took them an hour, and I got a brand new battery in my phone, and now I'm good because I thought I was going to have to upgrade later this year, and now I can if I want to, but I don't have to.
I haven't done it through Apple, but there's like a iFixit store or whatever the plethora of other stores are around here, but it's basically the same price. You give him $100, he sit there and does it in front of you. It's a 15-minute ordeal, and you're right. It's not an Apple battery, and I don't think it's as good as the OG battery, but it takes you from 80% back up to 95%.
Yeah, it gives you another year and a half.
Yep, you get another year or so out of your phone.
So my point to that rant was, my iPhone craps out or only has 79% after 2 years or almost 3 years. What's these car batteries going to do 8 years down the road?
I will tell you this. What other product that you have in your house that you're using a battery for 3 years every single day, I think personally that is phenomenal return on a lithium battery that's getting. So I mean, some people they're charging their batteries twice a day, like
Me.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
so that in itself is, like I don't know if anything other than maybe the closest I would say would be a laptop if someone's actually not using it. And we all have laptops. I mean, my battery on my laptop's trash. But
Yeah.
what
But
other
when you
product
say
that
that, when you say that though, when you look at lithium batteries, like when you go buy something and it says it'll give you 1,200
Million,
discharges or whatever, 2 years is 700 discharges, and we're complaining after basically. I think on my phones, the battery's kind of shit after 1 year. So is let's say when it's brand new and I only have to charge it once a day, one thing, but 6 months in, I'm having to charge it midway through the day. But is that enough? Like that's still, you're looking at maybe 500 charges before the battery's like legit bad, and I can't make it to lunch before I.
But
need
you know
to
what
charge.
I'm thinking? I'm thinking when they say charges, I don't think they really, because I know with nickel metal hydride batteries, when I used to be in the cell phone industry, they built a memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been
Lithium's
out of it
not
so long.
supposed to do
Lithium's
that,
supposed to, right? Doesn't supposed to. But are they counting a charge every time you put it on the charger to charge it back in? Even if it's not at, I would assume so, because like you said, 12,000 charges. There's no way we're getting 12,000 charges.
Yeah, right.
But I think that's where they're, and we're way off topic here. I know, but now that iPhone's now doing like the optimized charging.
Correct.
Right. And they'll take it to 80% until right before you wake up. Right. Like mine doesn't hit full charge until like 3:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Tesla does the same thing. Perhaps Porsche does, perhaps these other companies do, but that is still the issue, right? Like if you are able to drive the 8 miles to work and there's a free plug-in, of course you're going to plug your car in, right? But does it need that 2% while that it lost on the way to work? Or is that actually hurting the battery? Because that's what we used to hear, right? Like that you should let your battery hit 80% and only go 60 to 80, 60 to 80, 50, 80, whatever, and keep it at that 80%. I don't know if that's still true. Maybe this is the new, the 800 volt systems, batteries are different. I don't have any idea, but.
Well, the big thing up until now, and it's not that it's brand new, but like for instance, the previous Dodge Ram that I had Apple CarPlay in it, but it wasn't wireless. So, and I use CarPlay every day. That's my only navigation.
Yeah,
I use
you
it every
had
day.
no choice but to plug it.
So yeah, so you plug it in, and of course it's charging the battery at the same time as you're using your Apple CarPlay. Now in my current Ram, I don't have to do that, but when I sit it down, it's on a
charger there.
Charger thing, right? So it's charging, so there, everywhere you set your phone, it's now with all the, QI chargers and things like that, it's always charging it everywhere you put it. So.
And I'll say one last thing about the stupid ass phones, but like in my job, just as yours, Matt, you too, Kevin, like if I'm at 60%, 70%, and I have an opportunity to charge, I take advantage of that because I can't go without my phone. If I lose my phone in the middle of the day and I miss a phone call for a surgery or whatever, like that's obviously lost business. I look like an asshole, like whatever. You all are the same way. You lose that sales opportunity or whatever. So I would consider us probably power users. We're probably like the worst case scenario where if you're like my wife and she sits it in her purse while she's doing her thing, not a big, like she's not having as many charging opportunities or forced charging opportunities that we are. But it's still, I don't know. I still think the battery tech is just not there. And I think we're seeing it. And I think that a break even at even 200,000 miles is still environmentally break even point of 200,000 miles is still way too high because people just don't keep their car that long.
It's going to be very interesting to see the dynamics of the market in like 10 to 12 years when,
we're going to be full blown Hemi V8s, bro.
Well, no, what I'm saying is to see where the electric vehicles are and when the batteries start stacking up and need to be replaced, how many you actually see them. I mean, are you really going to see, well, I saw one the other day, a Tesla Plaid. Now we're talking 1,000 horsepower vehicle, Tesla Plaid, $43,000.
Wow.
This was a $190,000 car 2 years ago, and it was $43,000, and it only had like 31,000 miles on it.
This is where I think that Tesla truly changed the marketplace in the electric vehicle market, when all the models are, once you have commoditized speed or acceleration to the point that they have, right?
Mhm.
Every car is 0 to 60 in 3 or 4 seconds. Like, it's ridiculous. What is the benefit of upgrading to a new version?
Right.
And I do worry about that even with like the Taycan. The Taycan is blindingly fast, but if you buy one and the battery's fine, why would you buy a new one?
You wouldn't. I mean, listen, not to keep drawing parallels between iPhone and Tesla, but why am I going to go out? I mean, I have a 14 Pro. Why am I going to go out and get the 17 when, every year I upgrade to the latest software? Why do I need the next one?
I actually think it's a perfect comparison when you compare the cameras, right? For
Yeah.
years and years, the reason we updated our phones was because of hard drive capacity and phone quality.
Mhm.
And now that has become, these phones are doing 4K, right? You can do 4K video.
And cloud storage. So
cloud storage, the videos are fantastic. So why I have only upgraded my phone when I've been forced to, because it didn't make sense to buy a new battery versus buying a new phone that was 2 model years old, right? Because I don't need the latest and greatest phone because it doesn't do anything different any longer.
Right.
And I think that the electric cars are going to be the same thing. When the Taycan is going from 0 to 60, and these are just stupid numbers, but from 4 seconds to 3.85, you've already got the massaging seats and the sunshades and the self-driving and, the masseuse in the whatever. Why upgrade? And I think that these companies are going to find themselves in a hard spot because there's no reason to upgrade.
I have zero need or even really want in a Tesla product. That being said, a $43,000, 1,000 horsepower Tesla Plaid becomes very appealing very quickly.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Again, for a fourth car, who fucking cares?
For a fourth car, not for a primary vehicle, but for a fourth car. Hey, you want to go out and melt the tires for a couple hard pulls and make yourself sick? Rock on.
Go for it.
All right, so that was that. So they're back in the news. Recalls, big surprise. I'm sure they'll get it fixed. Casey, you threw up in the group chat something that was very interesting. You just put in there, what are our thoughts on a forever vehicle?
Yeah, so
extrapolate.
I was listening to another podcast that I have not listened to in years because the dude has become very political. And so he makes snide political comments, and it kind of gets old when you listen to a car podcast and it wants to just strictly get, anyway.
I think I know the podcast.
The comment was raised about a forever car, and their commentary was actually kind of interesting in that, all growing up, I always said I had a dream car. If I ever got a Porsche 911, it would be my forever car. I would never sell it. And I still kind of feel that way to a certain extent, and I'll explain why. But the thought of having a forever car, why do you do that? Like, do you all have a forever car in your fleet right now? And if so, why? And the argument against it is that you should buy a car, enjoy it for what it is when you have it, and that you should not be married to it because it's just an object. You can sell it. You can move on to something else that tickles your fancy. And you shouldn't be burdened by the feeling of having a forever quote unquote car, which I think a lot of car people experience or do or go through.
Okay. So I have a couple different answers for this. My current 911, I don't see.
You only get 5 minutes on this topic.
Well, no, here's the thing, though. This is a very complex question because I'm not a very sentimental person, but we've talked about this before and with watches. I associate things that I get with periods of time in my life that I want to remember. Okay. So like I buy watches, all the time that I could care less about, but when I call what a milestone watch, a certain period of my time, I get something in those. I don't have any intention, unless I just need the money. I have no intention on ever getting rid of them. So the 911 that I have now was an aspiration and something that I got because I hit a certain, a certain level of my life. All right. So I don't foresee getting rid of the 911 that I currently have. Is it what I would consider a forever car? Not from a cool standpoint. It's a base Carrera. Now I do think it's the best generation, personally, from a water cooled perspective. I think the 997 is the best generation. So will I ever get rid of the one I have? Maybe, if I grow tired of it. I don't see that I'm going to grow tired of it. Will I probably add to the collection? Of course, but I don't know that I'll get rid of the one that I have.
And see, Kevin, I see you as the opposite side of the argument, but I could be wrong. But I do see you as the opposite side.
What do you mean?
Because, in the time that I've known you, you had the 991. You're now on the 992. You've added the 85. You've added the
83.
I know you've added the Touareg. You've got the 4Runner. You're getting rid of the van.
So I don't believe in forever cars.
Okay, that's where I'm going with that.
Yep.
I would say that would be the parallel question would be a dream car. Maybe somebody would say, "Oh, I have a dream car," and then when they get the dream car, because you hear a lot of people, and I wholeheartedly think that people should have, "Hey, I'm striving to get this particular car," right? So, and then once they get that car, then for me personally, it's okay. Onto the longest car I've ever had has been my T-Bucket, and I sold it because I found myself, and Savannah was probably like, I don't know how old she was, maybe 10. So she's 20, she's going on 25. So I've had that car for a long time. I've never ever called anything my forever car, and I don't care if I've get a Bugatti, I don't know, Bugatti or whatever. That's who has. Now I will say I do know some people, and they're much older than me, that maybe they bought a car that they got out of Vietnam with their bonus, and they've had that car until they pass. Actually, in fact, one of my employees, he had a friend, and his friend got the car, and he remembers that he worked with this older gentleman. He bought it after Vietnam, and it was a Hemi Cuda, and it was mint condition, kept it, and his son, I don't even know if his son kept it or not, but he had that car. It's very, very few times that you even hear that. Usually you hear it at a Barrett Jackson, and the guy selling it, yeah, that so-and-so had this car for 20, 30, 40 years. But who the hell has a forever car? I would say dream car, yes, but I'm not keeping anything forever. Like, shit changes for me.
Yeah, I find it interesting because I didn't know this about myself until I kind of evaluated a couple years ago. But I do tend to buy things and hold on to them. I try to buy something I really like, and so to me it makes sense that I hold on to them. But I also buy things in which I can tinker. And the tinkering part of it for me is probably the most addicting part, is that I like to make something mine, but I also like something to do and something to work on. And
but
so
I know you, Casey, and I know your cars. What's the oldest car or the longest car you've had? Like how many years?
At this point, it's 2025 or 2025, probably the 911 now.
And how long have you had that for?
This fall would be 7 years.
That's not even close to forever car.
So hold on.
No.
Hold on. But a motorcycle previous, my Aprilia, I held on from 03 to probably 2017. So that's 15 years. But like, my daily car, I put so many miles on them that that's really not feasible to hold on to forever. The Cayenne Turbo now has 287,000 miles. Is it going to make sense to do a full suspension rebuild on that again? I don't know. If the motor goes, does it make sense to rebuild that engine? probably not, right? Like, even though I love it, like, it's not going to make financial sense. Whereas the 911, it's a different experience. It's used for a different reason, and it still gives me the tingles. So if something were to go wrong there, to me, it still makes sense from both a financial standpoint as well as a fun standpoint to fix it or hang on to it.
Well, and to add on to that, so, and I guess I like the 997 for a bunch of reasons, but technology plays a big factor in that. You know, when you think about if you are going to hold on to something forever, all right, obviously ease of repair.
But we don't know what forever looks like when you, in regards to technology, as you're saying.
No,
right?
we don't. But what I'm saying is the 997, or the generations before that, or anything that's air cooled, 30 years from now, you don't have to worry about necessarily finding a circuit breaker or a diode for some touchscreen, whatever. I mean, nothing against the 991s and 992s, but the dash of Kevin's current car looks like a fucking spaceship. And so those are going to, in my opinion, may have issues getting parts 30 years down the road. Whereas, the 997 isn't really going to have, I mean, it's a head unit. That's really it. Everything else is analog. So,
and I think that's why the G bodies 964, 9932, you can still work on them, and it's all mechanical stuff. Now, back to the other thing, I do know some people that will have a forever car just because maybe they were at a certain point in their life and they're not at that point anymore, so they may not can't
afford to get something else.
You know what's funny about you saying that is this is I guess really personal, but that is actually something I'm afraid of, because I don't want to be that, because I always want to keep moving forward and keep achieving and keep doing what I want to do. But I do wonder about that, or think about that when people do say this is a forever car, is that you peaked and then you went down.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's what happened with that guy with the Vietnam. He had a bonus check. He went out, bought that car, and was never able to afford probably a car like that because he didn't have a family, he didn't have a wife, he didn't have a house. He bought the car and he kept it. That's because life changes, you know?
Well, okay, let's look at these facts, okay? Kevin and I are pretty much the same age. Difference is Kevin owns his own business. I don't, okay? So I make a very good living.
We don't want to hear your song and dance.
I'm not singing dance. What I'm saying is I'm going to be 50 this year. I'm going to be 50 this year.
You got two motorcycles you can sell and go buy 914.
At some point, I want to retire. And so when you retire, even though I have savings, you're not going to be able to go out and just buy whatever the fuck you want to buy when you retire. You know, you want to be able to have trips with your wife and this other stuff. So because of that, my nest egg, although I have one, I'm sure is not as big as some of you guys. And so, yes, I'm thinking about it from the aspect of, hey, I got this really cool thing. I love it. I may just hang on to it because it's paid for, not really costing me nothing. And then
it's fucking awesome.
To be fun. Right. Yeah. Well, and something to go on to that is that even though I'm the third owner of this car, I've had it the last 5 years. I know everything that's been done to it. I've stayed up on the maintenance. I've had the repairs done, so yes, I can go out and sell it and get something else, but then you're starting over because now you don't know what rabbit hole you have to go down to fix this and fix that or whatever. And you're selling all this money. I know what I got now, so.
And it's funny you say that, Matt, because when I was driving home this weekend, I was at the gas station and the 80 Weissach, and a German guy came up to me and he saw the license plate. So immediately he had his you could look how we were stressed, right? He came to me. He was like, "Oh, Weissach," and I was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Super nice," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." Right out of his mouth, "Is it for sale?" I was like, "No, it's not for sale." He's like, "Oh, okay. I just bought this Jag," and he bought like a 90s Jag, 95 Jag, and his wife was in a 4Runner too, and they were going. He's like, "Oh, I live in Silver Springs." So I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm going back home too." I kicked myself in the ass for 3 hours thinking, man, I should have just gave that guy my card.
A number.
Because and just been like, $120,000. Yeah. And roughly, $120,000 on that car. I have probably $110,000 into this car. So, and for 3 hours, just be by myself driving because the stereo sucks in it. I'm thinking like, okay, yeah. You know what? Every time I've ever wanted to sell something, you never have that person.
Yeah.
But and I bought a lot of cars in my life, and my wife always gets on to me that I'm not allowed to sell cars because she says I lose money on cars. So it's and I was like, man, I should have said something to that guy and be like, oh yeah, here, or just
Call me
giving him a
sometime.
number. And
Yeah.
I was saying in my head too, saying it in German, like, 100,000, like over and over and over, just trying to oh man, you know what? Because who knows? He could have just been like, yeah,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
Done.
You're right.
So
I want it. Yeah.
The proper answer is, I drive a 4Runner. This is my wife's car.
Yeah. So I was actually in the van, but or she was in a van. So you never I don't know. I personally, I love that little red car. I love the red car, and I drove the Weissach, and it was. I mean, it's fun. It's a nice car, but man, I don't know. I don't know. I know for a fact though, I don't have a forever car.
I guess where I thought about this because I was driving down Roanoke and back, and so I had a lot of time, and I thought about it. And Kevin, what you just said is, I think the conclusion that I came to is that as long as it's still making me happy, and it still gives me the feels, I think that I do tend to say that my car's a forever car because of the money and the stuff that I put into it. But realistically, it's probably not. But I as long as I'm getting those good feels every time I sit down in it, and I still get kind of nervous driving it because I love it and I want it to stay. It's not perfect anymore. It's got fucking 5 rock chips on the hood, but it's perfect to me, right? It's fantastic, and I think as long as it gives you those little feels, then sure, keep it. But just like I sold my Aprilia, just like I sold the Gixxer, they're gone now. Those things gave me that same feeling for many, many years.
Right.
And once it kind of stopped doing it, it took me still I haven't raced for 2 years, and it took me 2 years to sell it, but I did finally move on it. And
I'll add on that too. I'm 100% engulfed in Porsche. I have a house that is all Porsche shit. You can see behind me tons of Porsche stuff. I make Porsche parts.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but I will tell you, previous to this, I was hot rod out.
Right.
If I showed you pictures, beard, I was on a hot rod club. I was hot rod out. Previous to that, I would say I was in JDM. And previous to that, I was into bugs. I was all Volkswagen. Who knows? Maybe. So I'm definitely going up. But I mean, I've had some expensive hot rods too.
Those went through a hell of a high, dollar range.
They did. And who knows? Maybe I'll wake up and be a Lamborghini douchebag and be like, hey, and have all the gold shit.
I can't wait for that. I'll still be your friend, but I'm going to make fucking fun of you every day.
But I will say 90% of my friends that I hang out with, and we've talked about this, are Porsche people. They have a Porsche that I can regularly, I do a podcast with you guys. You guys, that's how we met. My stuff is Porsche. And I know you guys do the same thing. We do things together. Matt, you just went up there to see Casey. It's Porsche. I will say that the camaraderie behind the car brand, for what we find now, there's also the other camaraderie where you have the older people that go for, early bird specials and PCA guys and stuff and that's still their group.
Yeah.
So you can have both of, whereas in a hot rod scene,
you're sitting behind your car all day.
Yeah. And I was just talking to somebody about that. I've never been that person to park my car and stand by there. I think we were talking about when we went to Amelia. Never, I want to go look around.
Well, and you, Savannah, covered it last week on the podcast as well. You guys talked about it.
That's what I think. That's what exactly we're talking about.
Yes.
So I never want to be that guy. I do enjoy talking about my car, but it's
not the sole reason that you're out there.
And I would say hot rodders are, for the most part, they want to tell you all about their car.
They want to tell you what they polished last.
So that's one of the things that I really and I truly do love everything. Like I have similar to Kevin, I started off with VW stuff, then went through my JDM phase. I've always loved JDM. I still, love JDM stuff. Have always loved Porsche stuff, just could never afford it. Finally got to a point where I could afford it. So I love everything. And that's why, back in the day, you look at like the 90s and early 2000s, there wasn't these cars and coffee and stuff like that. It was like car shows. You went to a car show and giving out, $1.50
Plaques.
trophies and everyone's standing there and that kind of stuff. And I never really loved that kind of aspect. Whereas now to cars and coffee, I dig it because you go, you park, you fucking just walk around and you shoot the shit. And you'll talk to Porsche people, you'll talk to JDM people, you'll talk to all kinds of stuff, and you just shoot the shit for a couple hours and you hop in your car and you go home. And
do you guys notice too, there is still car shows, but typically it's Mopar, Ford,
yes,
Camaro, Corvettes. Those still exist because we do have them at our local malls. And it's an all day.
Dude, I swear to God, sorry for the Mopar guys, but if you ever want to see the people of Walmart on wheels, man, go to a Mopar event because you'll see the Chargers with Batman liveries or Spider-Man liveries or Captain America liveries or all kind of crazy stuff. So,
but I mean, that is what's good about the car scene. I mean, I remember people doing that with the PT Cruiser. So
or the HHR,
or the HHR. And my graphic designer, that he came to America and loved the PT Cruiser, loved it just from a design perspective. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, do not get that car.
And this guy used to have JDM cars, like Type S's and Type R's and SIRs, and I'm like, but is it the same thing? Because that's an American. Like right now, he drives a Ford F-150 because it's 1,000% American. It's right. American. So, and with us, JDM is because we can't get it.
Right. I mean, I saw it yesterday. I'm on Facebook. Suzuki JDM right-hand drive Suzuki Cappuccino. Literally a little tiny go-kart that's like $9,000. And I'm thinking to myself, I'd buy that tomorrow. And in Japan, you probably can't even give it away. It's junk over there. So it's the niche about it.
So we're on agreement. We three do not have forever cars.
No, not a forever car. That being said, I'll probably keep mine only because I know what's been done to it, and I'm cheap, and I don't want to have to start over. I do think there's an aspect of, all right, I look at an air-cooled car now, and when I could have afforded it, I had little kids, and really couldn't justify the cost. And now I can't afford it because they're just crazy expensive.
But Matt, okay, say your motor blows in your car, and it's $30,000.
No, that's a different story.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. It's $30,000. The car's not worth $30,000.
No.
So that's where, if that were to happen, then that would not be
of course not.
Car.
I mean, knock on wood, it doesn't happen.
But at that point, and listen, my car does have IMS. I don't know if it's got the rebuild in there or not. When I do a clutch, I'm going to have them put it in there just be on the safe side. Everything tests out good. But to your point, yes. I mean, now my car is a $20,000 paperweight, and if that's the case, then I hawk it off for $20,000, and I put that towards something else, and then I figure out at that point.
And what is your car worth now, do you think?
Right now, and they've come down
40?
a little bit. I only got 53,000 miles on it. Probably high 40s, 48, somewhere around there. So
now, Casey, you're into your car a lot. So if your motor, something happens to your motor, you are at that like.
I probably got to fix it.
Yeah, you got to fix it.
Yeah. And fortunately, I'm not worried about that. But you're right. I'm at a point right now where I would need to fix it. Yeah. And that's fine with me. I knew that going into it. As I said, this is still the car that I want, and I don't, especially only having the ability to have really one, the car. That this one, I walk past it in the garage and it still makes me giggle. Right?
It should.
I still can't believe that I have it. And when I get into it, like I said, I still get a little nervous because I'm worried that I'm going to fucking do something stupid, like curb a wheel or, bump the guy in front of me, stupid stuff like that. And I think that's actually a topic for another time. But like how do you all get over that? Or, Kevin, you've got an astronomically expensive 992 GT3 Manti, right? Like, how do you get over that feeling? Or do you ever, ever have that feeling? I don't know.
I get the feeling that, for me, I get the feeling that when I'm driving that car, the idiots that are around me, so I can't even imagine if driving a $1 million car.
Yeah.
Because I see the idiots on the road. And I will say the other aspect to that is, so I get freaked out on driving that car. The other aspect is when I drive the red or the gray car, I don't talk to cars, but on those particular two cars, I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to make this trip okay, especially making that 3 hour. Like,
Yeah.
I only did that with like hot rods, and it was only my wife's truck that hated her, loved me, never broke down on me, always broke down on her. But on these two cars, I feel like actually it's like, okay. And you guys saw when I was like, when I drove the gray car, and it was just simple, like misfire. Like,
Yeah,
we changed the coil. Actually, I took some sandpaper to the road, and it ran fine. But I'm so like, any little it's like, oh man, even right now, like before I got on this podcast, I noticed that the windshield wipers put scratch in the windshield.
Oh,
no. So I'm over here like with it's not deep, but I was over here with
the glass
pop. No, well, I was trying to use some buffing compound, but
never gonna get it.
Nope. So I ordered some. Have you guys ever? I got the glass cleaners, $20-something. I'm going to try that out and see if I can.
I've had hit or miss results.
I've never been able to get anything out of glass.
I've made it look better. I can see it. The biggest issue you're going to see is when the sun hits it at certain angles. You'll always see it. But
so should you do the whole windshield then?
You should just replace it.
Yeah, probably do. I mean,
so you guys have not replaced the.
I was saying yours is a different animal, so that's because I
have already on the red car, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
So
no. So.
All right. Well, that's probably a wrap for this one, ain't it?
It is. Yeah. It is. It's a wrap. I do want to go over real quick. We do have two sponsors that we never talk about. Actually, we have a sponsor we've always talked about, or never talked about, but always had, and a new sponsor. So shout out to Asphalt Killers. All right. If you need Porsche parts or you need Porsche apparel, go to asphaltkillers.com. You can actually go to our website.
Always in stock.
Always in stock. Go to whiskeywatcheswheels.com. We have a new tab on the website that says sponsors. You can go there, and there's links right to the sponsors right there. And then we have a new sponsor that signed on board.
We should probably shout them out first next week.
Yeah, we can. Well, actually, I'm going to probably do a little thing that we talk about every week, and we can slot it in. But basically, we got Flat Life Society. Flat Life Society is an apparel-driven company that is going off of flat engine style inspired things. So Porsche, Subaru, Toyota 86, things that are like flat engines is primarily what they're focusing on. And there's a link to their T public page on our website as well. So check them out. Cool patterns. I know that the Flat Life Society is putting up new prints every week. So the new stuff will be popping on there. They're usually on sale for the first 48 hours, and then they go to normal price. So yeah, good stuff.
I've ordered a couple shirts. So next time I'm on the podcast, because I'm out next week, the next time I'm on here, I should have them, and I'll definitely support them.
Mine, I ordered 3 t-shirts. Mine shipped. I got the shipping notification yesterday. I went through, I told the owner, because he's new to this and new to TeePublic. And so he was asking about, hey, if I order, could I get some different stuff? So I ordered like a regular one. I ordered a premium one. And so if I can check out the fabric and stuff like that. I know Kevin ordered like a vintage. So we can kind of, check out the fabric and see how the print is.
A premium.
And I'm going to be picky since I sell shirts.
Well, yes, you should be picky. Let us know how it is, because I want to give him 100% unedited feedback, because he went with this company based on feedback he had gotten from other people. That being said, there's a ton of other companies out there, Redbubble and Amazon and things that he's going to probably spread out to as well. So he can have it in different areas. So. Cool. Other than that, we are good to go. We do have an interview lined up week after next for the creator of Vision Vents. Anybody that knows and has a 997 may know what Vision Vents is. So we'll be talking to Carlos, the owner of Vision Vents. And other than that, thanks for listening. website, whiskeywatchingwheels.com, YouTube, Instagram. Hit us up. And that's it, guys. Peace out.
Cheers.
All right. Bye.
See you guys.